Hello, Adam Casey here. We just wanted to give an update on the 2023 dredging progress as of September 28th. The first couple of videos that we did for the dredging series are really pretty technical and got into the functionality of the disposal sites, how the dredging was occurring, processes, all of that. For this one, we're really just going to give kind of an overview of where we're at and where we are heading going into the next year. So it should be a little bit shorter than the last couple. So what we'll do is go ahead and share our PowerPoint and we will jump into it. Again, this is the September 28th, 2023 hydraulic dredging update. Firstly, we are going to get into what has been done to date. This map was actually the map from the July 15th bathymetric that was given at an update at a board meeting. Since then, we have continued to work in this zone 2 area and then focus on the east end where the creek delta is and the spots of land, and then as well as a shallow area that was off the tip of Ellis Point. Here's the updated map. Again, if we kind of look in these areas, the southern part of zone 2, northern part of zone 1, we continued to work down this way and then over into the vegetation maintenance line. Here is the updated map. This was as of last week when this was taken, actually September 12th. You can see we have continued west in the zone 2 area until we get to the 6 to 7 foot line. We've also gone a little bit further east in the delta area. I think right now we're about 150 feet from the GPS Lotus maintenance line there. We did run into some issues in this area. Primarily, it was actually land. When we started bidding this out in 2020 and did these initial bathymetric studies and designs, and had the contractors come out and look, that area was actually underwater and was not vegetated yet. So when they got into this area, it's now actually above water and vegetated. And it was just incredibly slow going in kind of new conditions from what was originally bid out. And rather than kind of do a contract amendment or increase cost to get that last 250 feet, we decided to go focus on these very shallow areas off of Ellis Point and then further out into the delta, or further west into the East Bay there. There's another shallow point. We've actually had quite a few calls and questions asking why it was so deep and then this shallow hump. So the initial dredging really started east of this point right here, the shallow point. We have currently finished the shallow area off Ellis Point. There was a big log here that actually Ross and myself went out with our small barge to help remove. That way they could dredge the area here. So that hump is gone, coming right out of the creek, and then now we are going to focus on this other shallow area about halfway out into the bay. So actually, as of today, the dredgers are assembling the pipelines and moving the barge to work on this. This is a picture looking south, Bean Blossom Creek into the Solomon Harbor area. We dredged up to the Lotus that was there, and I really just kind of wanted to show this up. You can really see that contrast. It goes from 5 feet to essentially 0 feet and above land immediately. So we do have the channel marked up there, but if you are boating in that area, you can get right up to that Lotus. But just know that it goes from the dredging depths to no depth at all, pretty much instantaneously. And I really like this picture. The water was pretty clear this day, and you can just see the cutoff where the dredgers ended. Then when we moved back west again. In the upland site, these are some pretty good photos that were taken last week as well. We're still pumping into the upland site across from Little Africa. The initial estimated yards that could fit in there was about 120,000 yards. We have removed to date about 115,000 yards. So there is still a little bit of volume in this area to max out the retention. We're currently utilizing a polymer that gets injected into the sediment and helps the sediment come together into larger chunks and settle out faster. So we're actually seeing very nice settling in the basin here from the sediment that's getting pumped in. And actually these areas right here, the elevation is above the spill pipe elevation. So there is a chance that we'll be able to fit even more than 120,000 yards, because we are seeing the sediment kind of mound up there because it is settling out so quick. Here is another picture, kind of looking south. The pipe comes in here on the right and then dumps in. And one of the nice things about this pond is actually when sediment starts filling up, the path kind of cuts and it always goes to the lowest point. So it's been just kind of on its own naturally filling in very efficiently. But you can really see this land that has built up and accumulated above the water line. So that is where we are at. Where we are going, we will get into now. Just to kind of go back, we will be continuing dredging until the end of the year or until that full contract of 140,000 yards is accomplished. But this project, current contract, will end at the end of 2023. So we hope to approach that 140,000 yards when we extended the contract. Next year, we are already looking forward, and we are currently working with the Christopher Burke Engineering Group, who did our first bids, done some of our sediment transport studies, and they also review our bids for the hydraulic dredging before we pay out. They verify the bathymetric. So we actually just got the first draft yesterday, September 27th, for the bid for next year. And we're moving forward with that. The goal is to have the bid announcement within the next week and give a month for hydraulic companies to come in, check out the project, bid on it. And then in early November, we will host a standalone meeting to award the bid to the most responsive and best cost contractor. So moving into next year, our 2024 sediment mitigation budget, what we're actually looking at now is a snapshot of our 2024 proposed budget. Actually tonight, the Thursday, September 20th board meeting is the public hearing on the budget to voice concerns, etc. And then next month in October will be the budget adoption meeting. So in our budget, the estimated funds or the requested funds to be raised from our special benefits tax is $850,000. That has not changed at all. That is the exact same amount that we took last year. So we are not proposing any increases in taxes for this project next year. We do have $1 million budgeted for the project next year for the sediment removal hydraulic dredging. So we will be taking money out of the general fund in addition to that additional assessment that we did of $425,000 explicitly for the hydraulic dredging project. So we're going to be using some of our cash reserves to accomplish the $1 million project next year. Next year, we will begin the contract at the Long Causeway Cove or overflow pond. This is just kind of an image of the overflow pond with our permitting. We will fill it to below the water line and then plant an emergent wetland. Similar to what you would see on the east end of the lake with the lotus and cattails, except it'll be much more diverse because it will be planned out with specific seed mixes and plants. So it should be a pretty nice wildlife refuge once we have completed that. The fill volume for the total cove to 6 inches below the water line is 156,000 cubic yards. We will have to see on the bids if we believe that we'll be able to get that full amount or not. Ideally, we are going to start the kind of pipes are going to run in through the culverts and then exit out through the culvert that's at lake level. We will have sediment mitigation and erosion control measures there, so sediment doesn't make it back into the lake. And kind of the plan is to start in this southernmost corner and then work our way to the north and west. That way, if we do have volume left over after the project, once we have met and maximized our budget, if there is any deep water left or open areas, we will try to make that in this eastern portion where the homes are there. But we are bidding out, we have pricing for 100,000 yards and that full 156,000 yards in the bid contract. That way we can look at pricing. I mean, if there is a price break for more, obviously we would like to take advantage of that. So again, the sediment removal as of now, 115,000 yards. What we will do next year is continue to work north through these. This is essentially zone 1, zone 2, and zone 3 from the original maps. So we will continue to work north along this area to the northern part of zone 2 and zone 3 with the proposed project next year. This is actually an image from the, I believe, the August board meeting update that we gave, kind of an estimation area of what we believe will be fully dredged after next year. So this area highlighted in green is approximately 240,000 cubic yards. And that includes this 140 contractor this year, and then the 100,000+ yards for next year. So anything that we get over the 100,000 next year would push us further north than this area. In these areas on the east end here in zone 1 and southern part of zone 2, we have been able to get up to the Lotus maintenance line, and we will be able to do that moving northward because there is actual water here. There was a little spot in this, southern zone 1 right on the creek where we were actually trying to cut through the vegetation and above ground area. So that is where we are at currently. Again, the project will move through essentially as late in the year as the dredgers are comfortable doing before they need to take off equipment for a potential freeze, or until that maximum contract amount has been met. Either way, this project will cut off in December at the end of the year 2023, and we'll begin 2024 with the new dredging contract. They have the $1 million budgeted, and then just to recap, we will start next year, if we don't make it this year, into that overflow pond, kind of the long causeway area cove on the south side of the causeway. Thank you for listening. I hope this was informative and we can answer some questions that we have been receiving. If you have any further questions or like clarification, always feel free to reach out to myself, Adam Casey, at the office, or shoot me an email at manager@lakelemon.org. Thank you very much and have a good day.